friends, Liv, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. If you are, hi, my name is Liv. It is so nice to finally meet you. So I just quickly want to give you guys a little bit of an update. I am officially moved back to Illinois, which is why I've been kind of MIA the past couple weeks, just kind of moving and getting settled in, but I am back and raring to go to get back into the swing of things, get back into my uploading schedules. That being said, since I am here indefinitely now, I will be searching for a better place in my house to film, so some scenery changes might be coming soon. Look out for that. But today I am bringing you guys the Pandora's Box book tag, which was started by my friend Cleo over at the Bemuzed Bookworm, so I will have her original video linked down below if you'd like to go watch it. But it is essentially all about the myth of Pandora's box and different prompts with different elements of the story. And if you guys know me, you know I am a huge Greek mythology buff, so as soon as I saw this I knew that it had to be done. So if you'd like to see all the prompts for the tag and which books I correlate them to, then just keep on watching. So the first prompt we have here is Prometheus originally stealing the fire from the gods. Name a book that talks about stealing something or a heist. And this is a very obvious choice for this one, but I am of course picking my favorite book, Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo, which is of course about our six outcasts trying to pull off a seemingly impossible heist. To be honest, I don't read many heist books, but something about Six of Crows of course sucked me in right from the beginning, and I love it so much. So as soon as I saw heist on the prompt, this was the first thing that came to my mind. Honestly, I will take any excuse to talk about Casbreaker and his wonderful band of misfits. Six of Crows really is just that book that I think you just read it and it really just sticks with you. So if you haven't read Six of Crows yet, here is my standard in a video. Please read Six of Crows, you will not regret it. So next up we have Pandora sent to the humans as revenge for Prometheus stealing fire. So this is a book about a really good revenge plot, and here I'm going to talk about Ash Princess by Laura Sebastian. I actually have not fully finished this book yet, but I am about halfway through and I love it. Ash Princess follows our main character Theodosia, whose kingdom was ransacked and taken over when she was a young child, and so growing up she was turned into the Ash Princess. Basically whenever any of the citizens of the kingdom rebelled or anything like that, the now reigning monarch would, instead of punishing them, they would punish their princess and force them to watch. And now Theodosia is all grown up and she's had enough, and now it is time for revenge. This is the first of a trilogy, I want to say, and from what I've read so far I absolutely loved it. I would love to read more of this. I think Theodosia is such an awesome main character and I really want to watch her grow and evolve over the course of the story. But for a good revenge plot, this was one that it was another give it, honestly. So next up we do have Pandora as the first female human. So this is essentially a creation story, so anything that has to deal with creating art or even creating like an actual being, but anything really having to do with some sort of creation. And this was a really hard prompt to choose. I think I don't read a lot of stories that have to deal with creation, but the one that I did choose was Lady Midnight by Cassandra Clare, specifically for the character of Julian. Julian is an artist, and a lot of his kind of personal character arc deals with his love of art and painting and his creations. So while it's not like an overarching plot of creation, it does have a lot to do with Julian and who he is as a character. So this one is maybe kind of cheating because it's not an overarching plot, but I took a little bit of a liberty with this one because I found that it was such a hard plot to choose from. But definitely Julian and his art is something that really kind of makes the story unique, and you really just can't help but fall in love with Julian, honestly. And honestly, I would love to see some of Julian's artworks in the paintings that he does. So if that was ever something that Cassandra Clare like released as like an extra, or even if it's something she's already done, if she has, please let me know. But Julian and his art is just something I really love. So next up we have Pandora All Gifted, which is a book that you were gifted, and I have this big clunker to talk about today. But it is The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson, which was actually gifted to me by my mom, so thanks, Mom. I still have yet to read this monstrosity, but I'm going to attempt to read it in September for the Stormlight Archive read-along that is happening on Twitter. I still say with a very heavy heart that I have not finished a Brandon Sanderson book, but hopefully that will be the case very soon. Honestly, I might try to start this a little bit early before the end of August, just so I can get a little bit of a head start on it, because it is over 1,000 pages long and it is very long. So this it's happening. So next up we have Told You So, which is kind of one of the overarching plots of the Pandora myth, and it is a book where a warning was ignored, and I feel like this is one that is kind of cheating given what the tag is, but I also feel like I really needed to talk about it. And I don't have book 1 in physical copy, but I do have book 2 with me today, but it is the Pandora series by Carolyn Hennessy. The Pandora series is of course a middle grade retelling of the Pandora myth. Each book of the series is named after one of the evil traits that did escape from the box when she opened it. So the first book is Pandora Gets Jealous, and this one is Pandora Gets Vain, and each book does deal with Pandora and her friends having to hunt down each of the evil creations that was sent out into the world. I read the first book in the series when I was probably 11, I want to say, and I loved Pandora Gets Jealous, but I never finished the series or even continued it, so I would love to reread Pandora Gets Jealous, see if I loved it just as much as I did the first time, and then continue on with this one and the rest of the series. From what I remember, I loved Pandora as a character and her friends. I thought they were really fun, but like you know, basic junior high girls. So getting to read them again and finally read the whole story, I would love to do that sometime soon. So next up we have Box Should Have Actually Been a Jar, name a book that was completely different than you expected, and I've talked about this book a few times on my channel, but it is Spontaneous by Erin Starmer. This is a very interesting sounding book. Basically the plot of this book is the main character is sitting in class one day when all of a sudden a girl in her class just spontaneously combusts and explodes, and then one by one other kids in her class start to do the very same thing. It's really out there. It was really interesting, but something about the plot, I knew I just had to read it. These are not at all necessarily my type of books that I normally read. Again, I usually read like fantasy mythology retellings. That is kind of where I gravitate towards, but something about this I knew I had to read. And without spoiling too much, I wasn't expecting this to turn out the way it did at all. I have to say I didn't fully enjoy the route it took. I think had it done a few of the things that I had been expecting, I think I would have liked it a lot more, and I think it just felt really flat for me in general. But as far as the book goes, that really you didn't expect where it was going. There was honestly really no way to predict how Spontaneous was going to go. It really just was that spontaneous. Next up we have Opening the Box, Set Loose a Lot of Evil Things into the World. Name a character who causes a lot of problems without intending to, and this is another Greek mythology answer, but I really have to say the title character of Circe from Circe by Madeline Miller. Honestly, throughout this whole book, not a ton happens because it is just Circe in her exile and the different people that meet her on her island throughout the way. And again, without spoiling anything, it's kind of she meets someone and she helps them, but then hundreds of years will pass, someone else will come and she'll learn kind of the repercussions of her actions. So I found Circe to be very problematic, and she really didn't intend to be. I'm trying to hold this best so like you don't get blinded by the cover. I did find Circe to be unintentionally very problematic, and that was really kind of the driving force of a lot of the book. So as far as a character that causes a lot of problems without intending to, we have Circe. So we have 2 more prompts left, and the next one is The Only Thing Left Was Hope. And basically for this one, it is a heartbreaking story that has either like a silver lining or some very heartwarming parts, and I'm going to stick with the Dark Artifices Cassandra Clare theme here and say Lord of Shadows, which is the second book in the series. If you've read this book, you know the ending is very heartbreaking, but something about the Blackthorn family and the Blackthorn children and their dynamics between one another, the way that they care for one another, the sacrifices they make for one another. I have talked about the Blackthorns a million times on this channel, and I will talk about the Blackthorns a million more times on this channel just because I love them so much. And again, that family dynamic just really can't be beat when it comes to them, and they're so heartwarming that I will read this book again with no hesitation, with a huge smile on my face just from seeing their dynamics up until the very end. And last but certainly not least, the entire moral of the Pandora myth is to explain how evil got into the world. So the prompt for this one is to name a book that centers around battling a great evil, and for this I have to say Kingdom of Ash by Sarah J. Maas, which is the final book in the Throne of Glass series. There's really not much I can say about this book because it is of course the final book, and saying anything about this would probably be spoiling at least 3 or 4 of the other books. But this book does center around battling a great evil, and it's a long process. It is a very lengthy battle. This book is like 1,000 pages long, and it's told from many points of view, so it does take a while to get through, but the battle at the end, honestly, I thought was great and I loved it personally. So Kingdom of Ash is definitely a book centering around defeating a great evil. Alright, and there you have it guys. That was my rendition of the Pandora's Box book tag. I really hope you did enjoy it. If you do have a channel of your own and this is a tag that you would like to do, then I am officially tagging you, so I would love to see your version of the tag also. If you're not yet subscribed to this channel, you can do so by hitting that button down below. Thank you again so much for watching this video, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!